What do you think the pandemic means for Gen Z, millennial generation, in terms of dating? Do you think that it changes the future landscape of relationships?
Going up to talk to somebody in a bar is now like incredibly strange, right? Like no one does that. So I think it's going to continue that shift towards dating apps and towards finding people that you know are interested.
With more shots in arms, singles are looking for their shot at love. After a year in lockdown, how has the pandemic changed the way people date and what they're searching for in a match?
I think the pandemic has pushed people to really think about commitment in a meaningful way because we have become so much more isolated.
Experts say things are shifting for the swipe right generation, the pandemic transforming the dating landscape and driving Gen Z singles to crave commitment, with 52% saying a serious relationship is what they're looking for next.
I think that this generation has gone through a lot of turbulent times really quickly, and having a really committed partner offers a lot of stability.
Logan Urey, a relationship scientist at Hinge, said with all that time spent alone, the pandemic made people question what's really important to them.
Dating and relationships in a more intentional, serious, respectful way has risen to the top of people's priority lists. And we're definitely going to see people who are coming out of this looking to commit, looking to build something with someone.
We spoke to dozens of men and women navigating life in the pandemic. Some say it hasn't been easy looking for love after the lockdown. My priorities for making a match are nothing even close to the same as they were before the pandemic. I met someone early on and I knew it wouldn't work out, but I clung on since it's hard to meet people. I don't go on any dating apps, and meeting someone in the real world in a more natural or spontaneous way seems like a hurdle while trying to remain safe. I lost my job and I'm in my mid-30s. I'm definitely looking for a serious relationship because I lost an entire year of dating.
I think in my entire history of online dating prior to the pandemic, I had one phone call before I met somebody. And this past year, probably 7 or 8 times where somebody wanted to talk on the phone beforehand. I've done maybe a handful of Skype dates because I find them to be incredibly awkward almost universally. It's like hanging out with my coworkers. It's like being at work, but all the worst parts of it where you're sitting there being like, I don't have anything to talk about.
Singles have been chatting online and in outdoor spaces like this, but now that things are opening back up, they're gearing up for their first official dates.
Most of my friends and I, we were in a pod together, so like even bringing him into that pod, it was like a question of like, how can we make sure that this is safe?
COVID is clearly still a factor. However, singles are advertising their vaccination cards online, eager to get back out there.
Now it's a totally different conversation. It's like, oh, are you vaccinated? Oh, you only got your first shot? Well, like, I'm not seeing anyone until I get my second shot. So it's like dating online and apps is already weird, but now add all these things into the mix.
One woman telling us pandemic dating moved things along rather quickly, saying, quote, he had a toothbrush at my place since the night of our first date.
We're really expecting this summer to be a relationship boom because you combine two things. You combine that intentionality of people doing that inner work, and then you combine that with the motivation of, I've been alone for a long time and I'm ready to find someone. And so we really think people will be partnering up and getting into great relationships.
This time period has changed how we all see ourselves and our social interactions. I don't see that changing at all. And I do think that people are going to be much more intentional because the pandemic isn't over, it's still here. And so a lot of the things that people are worried about are going to keep happening even as we all get vaccinated.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.